My name is May Hong. I am the speaking voice of Mira from K-pop Demon Hunters. And this is Moana Nui podcast. Signing off. Happy fans. Do it with me. Happy fans. Happy Hon.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of THIStory, Hidden History, January 2026 edition. We are about to move into Black History Month, and we're going to be a mess next month. Just understand that. But right now, it's January. It's 2026, and I'm going to give you a parallel, and then we're going to quit talking about this altogether. In the current state of things, in the country where we live, a lot of people are discovering for the first time, this is a dangerous country. And that if you are on the wrong side of the people in power, they will treat you as if you are worth nothing, as if your life is expendable, as if their murder of you is justified simply because you disagree with them. And a lot of people, and you know what I mean, are just discovering this. They're just finding it out, and they're a little bit angry at us for not telling them that this was happening before. Where have you been? Fake twin, where have you been? Read a book. We've been telling y'all to read, to listen, to pay attention, to take us seriously, to believe us, to believe your eyes on the videos, to see what was happening with regular police brutality. And now that this goon squad is out here doing whatever to whomever, there's no protection with unmelanated skin anymore. Now, they're treating us like they treat black. I mean, they're treating us horribly. Yeah.
You know what comes to mind every time they gasp and clutch pearls is that meme. I can't remember what movie it's from, but I think it's like James Franco or somebody who look of that look. On like a pirate ship, I guess about to throw him over the deck, but the meme is basically just him standing there with this crazy grin on his face saying, "First time." Yeah,
first time.
That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and I posted something not too long ago that was like, here's a quote from Langston Hughes 90 years ago. 90 years ago, saying the exact same thing we're saying now. Pay attention. And now that, matter of fact, Malcolm X said the chickens were coming home to roost 55, 60 years ago. And so here we are again, people just discovering something and acting as if no one has ever said anything about this before, which brings us hard cut to what we're talking about. Is the rapture here yet? To what we're talking about tonight. Things that people thought they discovered but had been around for a long time. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Blurredography. Mark, we've been saying this. Our people have been saying this. Our ancestors have been saying this. We put it in books. We put it in documentaries. We put it in videos. We put it in songs.
We appreciate you multitasking tonight.
Thank you for watching two things at once. We put it everywhere. And you told us to shut up and dribble. You told us that taking a knee was not the right way to protest. And it was disrespectful to the flag. You told us all these things. And the problem, as Martin Luther King said, with moderate whites, is that y'all like peace more than you like progress. And you're willing to give up progress to keep the peace, which is why we are where we are now. But the problem with negotiating with a bully is the bully never backs down. The bully will continue to push forward. And all your little negotiating, all your little blah, 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 I can't, blah, blah, ain't got you nowhere. And so now you're finding out after you've been fucking around a little too long. So I said we were going to talk about that, and he was going to hard cut and not talk about that anymore. What we're really talking about is other things that Europeans have thought they discovered. It was already there way before that. We're going to call this the Columbusing episode. Columbus is probably one of the most famous, look what I found type dudes in the history of the world. Just went to a whole nother continent. And not only did he find people living there, but he wrote back home, yo, these people are so sweet. and nice and gullible, and we can take them for everything they got. I'm gonna come back and raid everything. That's how you. That's how you do it. That's how you treat people that treated you nicely. They gave you flowers. Granted, they gave you flowers because you stank, but they gave you flowers.
Mm-hmm.
You gave them pestilence and invasion, and then said you just. Well, actually, Columbus never said he discovered America. Everybody else after him. Matter of fact, fun fact about Columbus, when they were trying to incorporate the Italian Americans into white society, they needed a hero, and they chose Columbus as their Italian hero to make it a part of American history, to say that they had been here the whole time. So that whole thing, mind you, this was in the 20s or 30s, that whole thing around, Columbus discovered America. America Vespucci is where the word America comes from. It wasn't right? So
fun fact as well. What was it? 12 years, 8 voyages, never landed in what we know as the continent of North America.
Yeah, he hit the islands, right?
Hit the Caribbean, not the Caribbean, hit Cuba twice, South America twice. Mm-hmm. North side and east side of South America.
Yeah.
Missed North America altogether.
Because he can't drive. What did he know? What did he know? Nothing.
Couldn't navigate to save his life, because the lie he told to get sponsor from the voyages, of course, that part is true. The lie he told was that there was a quick way around to India, which, if you look at a map, India is east of England. But if we travel and sail west, it's faster to get to India.
That's because they had no knowledge. They had no knowledge of what the world looked like. They didn't know it was a whole nother massive continent on the other side, discovered for Europeans. Exactly. So, excuse me, when they ran up on North and South America, the Caribbean and South America, they were like, oh, this must be India. Hence why Native Americans were called Indians for quite some time. They were not and never have been. And we continue to persist with that to this day, right? It's ridiculous, the effect that a good narrative and propaganda dissemination can do. Which, again, going back to what's happening right now, don't let them tell you not to believe your eyes. Right. Remember that. But let's go down through, aside from the entire continent of North America. So the reason we're calling this the Columbus episode is, again, he said he found some stuff, or he was attributed. Yeah, nobody took him seriously at first. He was a mess. He was a whole mess until they needed a hero, and they chose him. And so this idea of it's not real until white folks say it's real is the real theme of tonight's show. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't think something ceases to have meaning, merit, or value until it is consumed by the white gaze. I don't believe that. There's a whole lot of stuff that I think can be for us, by us, etc. And all native, melanated, indigenous populations have their own thing. We don't need that validation. Looking at you, Oscars. But anyway, we don't need the validation. We do what we want. Now, think about sports. And James, I'm going to let you lead off on this part. For once, I'm going to stop talking and let James speak for a little bit. Think about sports and how much we believe comes from Europe. And if I'm not mistaken, that's not totally true. Is it, James?
Nah, it's not. It's not. Let's start with America's pastime. Baseball. Over 100 some odd years old. Rich history. We all know about the Negro Leagues and how, Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. And, if you know about Josh Gibson and Satchel Paige, other famous Negro Leaguers, actually a handful of women played in Negro Leagues as well. But let's go beyond that, because what is currently Major League Baseball began, I think, the mid-late 1860s in America. Well, Europeans and white folk in America, being themselves, routinely travel to the northern end of Africa, see the locals and the natives and gawk and awe about, oh my, this is new and interesting. And I can't believe they have this thing over here. One of those things they discovered, or they saw around 1930, because, that's when they first recognized it as existing, was a sport called, and I want to get this right because I've been butchering it all night and I don't want to mispronounce it. Oops, nope, that's stick fighting. That's the wrong sport. It's called Takert El Mahan.
Takert El Mahan. Okay.
In Libya. Now, Europeans and white folk in that time in the 1930s constantly traveled down to, again, northern African countries, see stuff. Oh, this is the first time I'm seeing it. So I've discovered that they've been doing this and no context whatsoever beyond that. That because a white person saw it in the 1930s, that's when the sport started. No.
Right. The sun don't shine till I wake up.
Libya as a country has been around for, I don't even want to guess how many years, but let's put it this way. It is definitely one of the oldest nations on the continent of Africa.
And all the nations in Africa are the oldest nations.
Oldest nations in the world.
Shout out to the Far East, to China, Mongolia, etc. They was rocking way back in the day. But when you're talking about ancient, you're looking at either Asian or African.
Yeah. So this sport they discovered is similar to baseball. What they won't tell you is that the European sports of cricket and what was the other one? Something else ball, I can't remember, stick ball and other variations of that. They actually have their origins in Takert El
Let's call it Takert.
In Takert. We'll call it Takert for short. But that's what those games came from. Stool ball, cricket, rounders, all those variations that kind of look like baseball but not quite baseball. They come from that African
which
sport.
way you swing the stick. Yeah, if you're hitting the ball with a piece of wood, it probably came from Africa.
And running bases, because that's basically what all those sports have in common: a stick, a ball, and running bases. So your European settlers, conquerors, or disease carriers, whatever you want to call them, when they came over to take over this nation from the locals, created that sport, created what we now know as baseball,
but
varied it so that it was different
enough
from what they played in Europe. So it's not quite cricket. Yes, cricket. Don't ask me to explain the rules in cricket. I don't know. All I know is a ball gets thrown at over 100 miles an hour and people run back and forth. And unfortunately, folks bank their lives on that game. But Takert El Mahan, 2 bases, same principles. A ball is thrown in play. It is hit with a stick. There are fielders behind the person who puts the ball in play. And that is your precursor to baseball, because again, just because white people saw it in Libya in 1930 doesn't mean that's where the sport began. So as long as Libya has been a country, that sport has been around.
And we're talking thousands of years.
That part. Another sport, look, we often say that's not a black people thing. Black people don't do this. Black people don't do that. Black people do a lot of things here in this country that white folk have taken over and pushed us out because of racism. And one of those things is hockey. And
specifically ice hockey.
Ice hockey. That's right.
Like, there's no ice in Africa. Hang on a second.
We're talking here. The very first hockey league, organized hockey league, was the Colored Hockey League of the Maritimes, formed in 1895 in Nova Scotia, Canada. It was a pioneering all-black hockey league that operated until the 1930s. By the way, the NHL began in the mid-1920s. So you can already see what happened there. This league operated up until the 1930s, and the NHL starts in the mid-1920s. You already know what's happening in those 2 decades as far as why this league close up shop and why the NHL took off.
I'm sure there was a lot of fire involved.
So, and for a time, this was the only hockey league in operation. So how did they get pushed out by racism? Simple. The rinks that they were using to host their games, unfortunately, white people owned them and refused to give them access.
Mm-hmm. And this is one of the things that aggravates me when, modern day goofy white people will say stuff like, why don't you make your own thing? We'd be so happy if you just came up with your own stuff. We do. You take it and then you say it's yours. And then you criticize us for playing it better than you. Get your own stuff. Hockey was ours.
Hockey was ours.
Mm-hmm. Never was this more apparent than during the 1944 Olympics that were in Germany? Man, history repeats itself because the Olympics are coming here. In 28, right? It's wild.
But before you even get to the Olympics, remember what's happening later this year, World Cup.
Honestly, they should cancel it. They should move it. They should just move it to Mexico.
FIFA has already started to advise people to not even come here to watch the games.
Mm-hmm.
Like
crazy.
If you are from another country,
especially a Spanish speaking or Portuguese speaking country,
because to some people, those two languages are the same.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those Latin countries, if you will,
mm-hmm.
who's sending teams to represent them in the World Cup here in June and July,
mm-hmm.
FIFA's are pretty much already told their fans, you might not want to go over there.
Don't come over here. This is a shithole country.
It is the shithole country now.
you don't want no parts of what's happening there right now. And we can giggle and laugh about it. Doesn't mean we don't take it serious. It doesn't mean that I don't fear for my life on random days. It just means I can't be sad and angry all the time.
All the time,
so I
right?
choose sarcasm and
dark
humor. Mm-hmm. 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 And yeah, what was that comment that just went up? I missed that.
Jesse Owens was a beast.
Jesse Owens was a beast. Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was.
Ice is going to the Winter Olympics.
The Winter Olympics are in what is it? Milan, Italy. Excuse me.
Italy. Oh, okay.
Is it Milan, Italy, or is it in Paris this year?
I don't know.
It's somewhere over in Europe.
It's over there in Western.
It's over there, so I'm not worried about the Winter Olympics.
We can do them like they do. It's over there in Europe.
Yeah.
Where they like to say something is in Africa. Oh, I've been to Europe. Yeah. The Europeans are hosting.
Yes, they are hosting the Winter Olympics.
And there will be ice. Some of it might even be useful.
There will be snow.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to check out the X Games currently going on because I've slept on the X Games over the last 5 or so years. There are black snowboarders now.
Bro, they've been out there. Yeah,
I know. That's how long it's been since I watched X Games.
So again, I mean, I want to get off of this, but I can't because it keeps being appropriate. But that's another thing where Black people in particular get hated on for being good at something. Because first of all, recognize that snowboarding and skateboarding come from surfing, which comes from our Polynesian brothers and sisters.
Yes.
Still brown, right? Somebody saw, I want to say it was a scooter or something along those lines, and was like, you know what? If I put a flat board on this, it would feel like surfing. And the surfboard, the skateboard was born. And then they took it back off and put it on snow, and snowboarding was born. And now we have all of these. There's surfing competitions as well, but now you got skateboarding competitions, you got snowboarding competitions, so on and so forth. And all of that comes from surfing, which is a Polynesian pastime.
And the snowboarder's name is Zeb Powell.
Nice. I wonder where he's from. And I mean that in the most respectful way possible.
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
26.
Cool.
So rooting for Zeb in the X Games because I know he's competing.
You know, it's funny. I was as a consultant during the day, I was doing something, and there was a young lady on the screen, and she reminded me of me. She looked like me, looked like my people, my cousins, all that kind of stuff. And she was talking, and she was saying some really good things. And I was like, if you don't mind me asking, where are you from? And she's like, you're probably asking. She had gotten so used to this stupid question. She goes, you're probably asking about like my ethnic background, and so I'm a little bit this and that and that and that. And I listened to her. I was like, No, but I really meant like, where are you from? Because you look like my people in Texas. You got family in Texas? And she was like, yeah, actually I do. I was like, we could be related. I'm just saying. And she's like, wow, I never thought of it. She goes, so you really wanted to just know where I was? Yeah, I wanted to know where you from. Because who are your people is what I'm asking.
Right.
Because I think I might be your people.
We might be kinfolk.
If you light skinned and you live in Texas, Florida, or California, we are probably related. I don't know how. I don't do the math. I don't play the rules. Black people even play hearts and eat mayonnaise. Yeah,
unfortunately,
that is true. That is true. But speaking about eating habits, that's another thing that again gets taken away after going through decades, nigh on centuries of struggle food. And it wasn't just Black people. A lot of communities have. I'm not even going to call it struggle food. We have zero waste mentalities when it comes to eating food. If you're going to kill an animal, use the whole animal, right? The panel that I'm working on for DragonCon talks about more than just Koreans and Black people sharing their love of fried chicken, but pig's feet, chitlins, and a few other things that you still can find on a menu in good restaurants in Korea, because they don't see it as struggle food or slave food, because that's not what it's about for them. It's comfort food. It's stuff that your grandparents used to cook and make, you know?
Exactly.
I remember the first time I had callaloo, and I was like, you can call it struggle meals if you want to. But when I first had callaloo, I was like, this feels like chopped collard greens. And it's a very similar plant, but it's an African dish or a Jamaican dish.
Right.
But anyway, so going back to what people be taking, food, right? Po' boys stood for poor boy.
I know.
And it was a sandwich made of all the food that was cooked the day before with some day-old bread and some mayo or remoulade or whatever to make it go down easier, and some lettuce and whatever. The way they dress it now, it wasn't as fancy then as it is now. It was a sandwich stuffed in a half of a French roll with some sauce on it and yesterday's fish or oysters or shrimp or whatever. Because remember, a lot of what we consider now high-end seafood was mud bugs back in the day.
Yes.
Crawfish, shrimp, lobster, all of that was cheap food that nobody wanted to eat because they were bottom feeders.
Mm-hmm.
Now lobster is $20 a pound. Oxtails, $20 a pound.
Mm-hmm. Shrimp,
$20 a pound. I remember when I could get shrimp the size of my thumb. Where's my thumb? Shrimp the size of my thumb with no head on. That's the body. $5 a pound off the wharf in Houston. Now, there you can probably still do it for about $8, but the prices have gone up. Food is a great way drug for different cultures. The best way to learn about somebody is to break bread with them and talk about similarities and differences over food that you both enjoy, a little bit from everybody. You know, that's why at your office, there's always a cultural food day. Now, they should go further and actually offer opportunities and promotions to the people bringing the food in. But aside from that, it's always a nice day. Spices, the whole spice trail, right? The joke online is, why y'all go all around the world stealing spices and they won't use them? And I did see one white woman respond. It was hilarious. She goes, we just wanted to control it. We didn't want to use it. We just wanted to own it. And that is probably the truest words.
Mm-hmm. It was a currency.
It was currency.
It was currency. So yeah, it had nothing to do with wanting to use salt. Was pretty much more valuable than gold at one point.
That's why they call you the salt of the earth as a compliment. Worth your weight in gold is a compliment. I wouldn't do that for all the tea in China.
Yep.
Yeah, these are currencies. And it's wild. That's another thing that was stolen. You know, tea or cha or chai, depending on where you are in the Asian diaspora. That is not an English thing. Pasta didn't start in Italy. That wasn't Columbus. Who was that? Marco Polo, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, the Italians do it right. I ain't gonna lie. Pasta is great. And you can have two things exist in two different areas and be used in different ways and have them both be great. I'm just saying noodles in general started way out east. Yep. They stole the tea and the pasta. It's Exactly. One other thing that we wanted before we get back into like the sports and stuff is escargot, macaroni and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we know that Sally Hemings' brother, who was a cook and a slave for Thomas Jefferson, he was nice enough to send his slave over to Europe to be trained so he'd be a better chef. Still be enslaved when he came. Can you imagine being relatively free while you learn and train in France and then got to come back?
Have to come back
to a plantation
because they will send for you
and cook for the man that is abusing your sister. Sometimes we really don't think about how horrible life used to be. But anyway, mac and cheese is something they took. I'm trying to think of the other one that I had on my mind when I was talking earlier. We talked about the po' boys. We talked about lobster.
Mm-hmm.
Oxtails now is a ridiculous amount of money. Collard greens. I saw a recipe on like Nordstrom's. I don't know why Nordstrom's. That's a clothing store, but Nordstrom's website, and it was about collard greens salad with pecans. What are you doing? You have kale.
Why?
Why do you need collard greens?
Why they always got add raisins and nuts to stuff?
Because they don't know how to cook. They only know how to mix. So you mix raisins into things. You mix apple chunks into potato salad. And you know what? If you ever serve me potato salad and I bite into an apple, that's the end of you. That's the end of you right there.
Oh, man.
I want to enjoy it, but it will be done. You got to go. This can't exist. I'm just saying. Let's talk about some other stuff that has been taken. You know what other things I was looking at earlier? And so we're going to get a little controversial when we talk about people stealing things, because I want to be, and look at the way I'm saying this, I want to be irritated with Black America. Just for a minute. Black America. Come on, y'all. Y'all act like y'all ain't never stole nothing from nobody. Twerking.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Twerking came from the continent. As a matter of fact, I was trying to read what it was called. It came from West Africa.
Okay.
And it was a fertility dance.
Okay.
And it started thousands of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to pull it up without pulling up a video. But matter of fact, several things, if you go back and look at some of the National Geographic videos, early videos or whatever. Matter of fact, what's the guy, I Show Speed?
Yes.
He was just trying to do what they call the hardest dance in the world. And it's that footwork dance that they do.
Oh, yeah.
I forget which country he was in when he was visiting. But
he's doing a tour of Africa right now.
He's doing a tour of Africa right now. He put on the outfit and he tried to do that footwork, and he was done. But that footwork reminds me of specifically Detroit footwork, right? Dance battling, which we used to do with breakdancing. It's not new. That it was a part of a celebration in a lot of West African countries, which is no surprise that we brought it with us. Even if we don't remember where we got it from, the DNA remembers.
Yes,
right?
It does. I will never forget that dance battle scene in Beach Street. It will always be ingrained in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Beach Street Crew versus Bronze Breakers, and they were just battle dancing. And what happens? The cops roll up and arrest them all for dancing.
For dancing without a permit, I guess. Who knows? But so dance battles, break dancing in and of itself, like even the windmills, all that kind of stuff, you can see elements of that from way back when. That's one of the other reasons I love Sinners so much, is it pulled that line all the way through with the music, right? But Detroit footwork is still prevalent in, I should have looked up the names of the countries before I started drinking. Because this is cold in here, so this is laced.
Oh.
That was probably a bad choice.
I'm glad one of us is nice.
Right.
I am worn out. I've been up since 4 a.m.
That's crazy. That's a real time on the clock. It's 4.
That is a real time, because
it's a witching hour.
Once every 4 weeks, my job is like, you got to come into this office. And so I don't have to be in there when the sun sets. I go in before the sun comes out.
I get that. 4 a.m., anything between like 0 and 2, midnight and 2, I think it's called like the witching hour.
Yes.
And I was thinking about that just now, but that also brings me to something else that has been stolen: witchcraft. Specifically, the use of naturopathic medicine, branded as heresy, as witchcraft, as witch doctors, all this other kind of stuff, just for now, random white women to call themselves shamans, to create things like hot yoga.
Shaman ain't even,
And I don't mind. I absolutely have no problem with the plethora of white women who are witches, because they have a history of that as well, through the Druids, through Scotland, Ireland. Matter of fact, also represented in Sinners by Remick, right? They have their own history. Tuatha De Danann, the Fae, all of that. I'm gonna let you rock with that. Howsoever, specifically the use of different root vegetables that are found on the continent of Africa, ways of practicing. Matter of fact, the entire practice of voodoo or voodoo is about protection from evil and protection from bad energy, and not about putting curses on people. Now, curses might find a little bit more common further north, if you know what I mean, right? But burning people as witches and then turn around and using their remedies as part of your base of the medicine that you sell to become a global domination, a globally dominant pharmaceutical company. I don't want to go to jail, so I'm not going to go any deeper than that. Just understand a lot of stuff. You know what? Since we live in Atlanta, and I know that this is all stream of consciousness, but we had planned to do something else and it didn't work out, and we didn't figure out it wasn't going to work till today. So we are shooting from the hip just a little bit. But if you want to talk about something that was taken and abused and rerouted, we live in Atlanta. Coca-Cola used to have cocaine in it. We all know this. But did you know how they discovered cocaine?
Accident.
Observation. So as they were working people to death in South America, specifically Central America, a lot of the workers in the fields would chew on these leaves and seem to be able to work tirelessly. They had extra energy. They could go all day, right? And they didn't seem to really get very hungry. So it seemed like almost like a Red Bull, It gives you wings, got you energy and everything. So they started paying attention to the leaves that they were picking. They were just weeds off on the side. Chew a leaf, get some energy. Don't do it too much. But there's a difference between ingesting a natural plant and refining something to its chemical compound. And so what did they do? They started boiling and dehydrating and mashing and making pulp, etc., concentrating these leaves, and cocaine was born. Now they can take credit for that.
Yeah, they can.
Because they monetized it, which is what they wanted to do. Matter of fact, you do realize that now that weed has been monetized by Big Pharma, it's now legal. Yeah.
That's what I told somebody several years ago, when the whole debate was going around. And it was like one of the holidays or whatever, and someone was like, so do you ever think weed will become legal? I was like, yeah, because some old rich white dude will get paid off of it. And that's pretty much how everything works here. If an old white dude is going to be able to profit off of it, it will become legal.
I'm asking this question because Mark asked, isn't caffeine a byproduct of cocaine? I looked it up real quick. Caffeine is not a byproduct of cocaine, but it is a cutting agent. So sometimes people will cut cocaine with caffeine just to give us, I think that's part of what they call a speedball. So don't.
Yeah, I can see that.
So here we go. Speaking of, while I'm looking up that, I also found the confusion may stem from, so people Coca-Cola, which originally contained both coca leaf extract, which is the source of cocaine as leaves, and cola nut extract, which is the source of caffeine. Coca-Cola combined two different nut and plants to make the original Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm.
The cola nut, hence the cola, and the cocaine leaf, hence the Coke. And it's a coca leaf, not a cocoa leaf. So don't get that mixed up with chocolate or what have you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. So they did take that idea. Same thing with weed. As since we were talking about is legal and illegal, it grows all over the Caribbean. It grows all over. It grows everywhere. It's a weed. It grows anywhere it wants to. All you gotta do is put some down, and it'll grow easy. But it is a fully somatic medicine. Coca-Cola was the plug. People were getting addicted to it, and it became a problem, and so they had to take the cocaine out of it.
Yes, they did.
And they added red dye 40 and sugar. I don't know. But yeah, it used to be a good pick-me-up. It was the Red Bull of its time, except it was cocaine. Cocaine cocaine has always been a narcotic. It's a painkiller. It can help your nervous system. They need to bring it back.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
You do not need to bring that back. You're lucky you got pure cane sugar Coca-Cola. Since America found out that everything that they sell to the United States is more poisonous than what they sell outside the United States. And that goes for almost every food company. If you buy Fruit Loops in Canada, they are pastel colored. They are not these loud neon green and yellow colors because they don't allow those dyes. And the Fruit Loops actually taste better. It's wild.
If you say so. Never had them.
Yeah, I've had them because one of my sorority sisters lives in Toronto. And so I had it. That's where I first saw that. But going back to Coca-Cola, they Coca-Cola and weed, discovering again in gestation as opposed to concentration. A lot less people smoke weed the way we smoke weed in the United States. You got your whole weed thing in Amsterdam. That's a whole different thing. More power to them. But by and large, it was used for cooking.
Oh,
because you could make a soup, a tea, and just chill out. And it wasn't nearly as strong as the nonsense that we be brewing up here in the United States because there have been so much genetic modification to the weed strands. You know, you got your purple haze and your out of sight midnight and all this other stuff. It used to just be, as Kat said, regular weed.
Yeah.
Right? You could smoke a whole joint and feel nice. Now you take one toke and you out there in Debo's pigeon coop trying to figure out what happened, right? All of that concentration leads to a higher form of weed. Is still not very addictive, but it can make you want some more, right?
Yes.
And a whole lot of Cheetos, so, but if Coca-Cola had hemp products, I'd be a board member. But weed didn't used to be the way it is now. Now you got CBD, DH, what is it? Delta 9, Delta 10, Delta 8, THC variants. You got all kind of gummies. They sell THC gummies in the airport. They don't want to say they sell weed in the airport. So what they say is they sell THC infused vitamins, gummies, whatever.
Okay. I didn't know they sold that in the airport.
Seagates.
I never fly out the Seagate in Atlanta for whatever reason. My flights home always it's either B or D. My flights home to DC. But yeah, I hardly ever fly out the Seagates.
Get there a little early. And roll up on the Seagates and get you some CBD.
Run through Seagate first, then hit my actual gate. Yeah.
Like I feel like it's right off the escalator when you come up from the train.
Okay.
Because that's what I saw. And I bought some and they are pretty good. Okay. Like they were pretty lightweight, if you just want, like I was having some shoulder pain or whatever and made it go away. It was great. Cool. We are so stream of conscious right now. So coming back around to why people be stealing stuff. So just reading Mark over here talking about his high tolerance. That's great for you. Talk more money. When your tolerance is low, you can get drunk for cheap and you can get high for cheap. And you should stay that way. It's awesome. Stop smoking for a little while or stop Stop for a little while and let your tolerance die down.
Yep.
And you'll save some money. But other stuff that they be stealing. So we talked about some of the food. We talked about, let's talk about dances.
Oh gosh.
Unless did you have any others? Oh, what we didn't talk about was the Negro Leagues, sports. And again, this isn't necessarily that they stole anything. And going back around to baseball, since the sport actually started on the continent of Africa in itself. You said Libya, right?
Libya, yes.
Yeah. So going back to all forms of stickball, baseball, etc., the Negro Leagues were overlooked for 100 years.
Yep.
They refused to acknowledge saying stuff like, well, they weren't playing real players. Excuse me, they were better than your real players. And Hank Aaron, was it Hank Aaron?
Josh Gibson.
No, the first one to play in the majors.
Yeah. Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's record.
42 was Hank.
No. Oh, 42. No, 42 is Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson. Thank you. Let's get my black folks mixed up. So Jackie Robinson gave lie to everything they had been saying about black people weren't as good at that sport than everything. And so, in like May of 2024, they acknowledged all the stats from the Negro Leagues because they recognized that some of those people were outstanding.
Yep.
It could never be touched. And once they did that, the stats changed the history books. Number one for home runs is no longer Babe Ruth, right? The number one in hits is now Josh Gibson. Matter of fact, I think 1, 3, and 5 all changed.
Yep.
Right? We went from you're not good enough to qualify to you dominating the top 10, which aggravates them because they think they're supposed to be better than us. This is why.
The sad part is that as discussions of integration were happening leading up to Jackie Robinson first playing, the Negro Leagues and the Major League would have all-star game. I can't remember the exact number of times they played. Let's call it 30 times they played, maybe 20, 30 times, roughly in there. Major League Baseball only won like maybe 1 or 2 times.
I believe that.
And they only won those 1 or 2 times because the games were called the moment they went ahead for reasons.
Literally, I'm going to quit while I'm ahead.
And the other 90%, 98% of the time when the Negro Leagues were kicking their teeth in, they were beating them by double digits. And if you've seen a baseball game routinely, and this is how Major League Baseball would like it to go, routinely they would like the scores to be like 3-2.
Yeah. Like 7 points is a blowout. And the Negro Leagues is beating them by double digits.
Routinely beating them by double digits.
Yes. Stop tripping and come get this ass whooping over and over and over again.
By players they did not want in the major leagues because, and some of the best players of that era in the major leagues refused to play in those all-star games. It didn't matter.
We know you can't hang. And you know you can't hang. But it gives lie to the idea of white supremacy. Because how can you be supreme when you can't throw, hit, or catch, or run as well as I do? So yeah. And Babe Ruth is everybody's favorite ball player, and that's great, but he was mediocre.
Overrated.
Once you add in all the stats.
Overrated.
Matter of fact, we're coming for swimming now. Nobody really invented swimming. It's a survival technique, so we're not going to try to put that anywhere. Everybody can swim. However, there was a moment in time in the United States where Black people got the reputation of not knowing how to swim, or worse yet, not being able to swim, like it was some sort of genetic defect. Black people can swim. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they be able to swim? Unless you live in the inner cities, which a lot of Black people in the United States did because they were, their parents were help, right? So they needed to live close to the neighborhoods where they were in service, or they needed to live close to the rail line because their father was a porter or what have you. Or best job at the time, maybe you were a nurse or a pharmacist, right? But you were in the city. And the pools, now there's a reason that we used to call swimsuits bathing suits, because that is how the government got white people to bathe, was to create public pools for them to play in and at least get wet all over.
Wet, yes. Which unfortunately some of them still do today.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
They just get wet.
They just get wet and then get right back out and then wonder why they smell like bologna. It's a whole thing. We'll wash your legs. It's a mess. I don't understand the consistent, almost DNA level refusal to be clean. What is that?
I know what he's trying to say.
Yeah. So the reason they called it bathing suit is because that was the suit you wore to go to the bathing pool. Most swimming pools were not for you to actually swim and frolic in. It is for you to get clean. Now, most people didn't come in there with a bar soap. They just splashed around in the water. But can you imagine how downtown New York must have smelled? Just rank, right? So just be wet. And can you just get wet? The friction of drying off will help you not stink as much as you did before you got in this pool.
Because mildew is a thing.
Mildew is a thing. Fungus, mold, algae, all that yeast is a thing. And again, we talk about projection. They didn't want Black people in the pool with them because they thought we were dirty. Meanwhile, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Right? Because like we weren't allowed to come into homes, to come into department stores, what have you, without being squeaky clean. When they talk about white glove service, is making sure that there's no dust or dirt or anything Black after you have been somewhere. If you're a maid or other kind of servant, they're coming behind you to make sure you didn't miss anything, but also to make sure that your skin isn't touching anything. It was very, very racist. White glove service is a very racist thing. But I'd say from the 40s to the 80s, Black people weren't able to swim. We had some beaches. The history of Bruce's Beach is a long and tragic one. We had some watering holes, a couple lakes and whatnot off in the country. You go visit your grandma or whatever, where you could probably jump in the watering hole and learn to swim. But when we started being citified, right now we're in the city, and the bathing pools are the only place to practice or play or to get close to water. And they told us, no, you can't come in here. And when they desegregated public pools, most cities, which you got to remember, most incorporated towns in the United States in the 30s through the 50s were sundown towns. When they talked about integrating swimming pools, they just cemented them over.
Yep.
They would rather not have a pool at all than share it with your Black ass. And so you had a couple of generations of Black kids that didn't have access to pools. And so they didn't learn how to swim. Doesn't mean Black people don't know how to swim. Now that we have pools again, you're seeing Black people in the Olympics. Not only can we swim, we faster than most of y'all. So once again, white supremacy is a lie. Right. What was one of the other things you wanted to talk about?
The game of checkers.
Lay it on me.
A Ghanaian game named Dame, or spelled D-A-M-E, or Draught. Similar setup. Goes back, let's call it several thousand years before the birth of Christ.
Okay.
But that's where checkers comes from.
Dame. Okay.
Dame. Another game is also called, similar to that, which checkers may have its origin as well, is Yote or Yohe, West African strategy game, often called African game of checkers. So you look at those two games as far as, and that one goes back to 1400 BC.
Wow.
Right. So someone tells you checkers was created in Europe. No, when a European saw it in Africa, took it back, finagled the rules a little bit to simplify to what we now know as checkers.
Matter of fact, I think we were talking about this on another episode of Moana Nui Presents, and we were talking about Jenga.
Yes.
Because Jenga is a very popular block game, and I just looked it up. In Wikipedia, it says Jenga is a game of physical skill patented by British board game designer and author Leslie Scott, marketed by Hasbro. Originally created in Ghana by the Takoradi tribes.
Yes.
It was really originally called Osiaden by the locals. However, the name later comes from the Swahili word kujenga, which means to build or construct. And my understanding is there were a lot of, say, like blocks of wood or loose blocks of wood around the docks, and people would just take those blocks and stack them up and then see how many they could move and continue to build taller. And that's how Jenga was formed. But this lady took it back to Britain and was like, I have this new cool thing that I created and patented called Jenga. And so let's talk about patents for a second.
Oh, gosh.
Patents are how you steal somebody's idea and get paid for it. Because
Edison.
the idea of a patent means that you're about to make some money off of it, and you don't want anybody else to make money off of the way you did. And if you're the first one to get to the office, it belongs to you. And I also recognize that until the 20s or the early 1900s, Black people were forbidden from having patents.
Yep.
And so a lot of this, we invented everything. Did you?
No.
Or did you just get the patent for it?
You stole the idea, ran to the patent office. This is why, erroneously, Thomas Edison is created with a lot of inventions that Tesla made.
Right.
Difference, right. Edison had money. Tesla was Black.
Y'all didn't know that, did you? Nikola Tesla was a person of color. I'm not going to say he was Black.
Yeah, okay, person of color, yes.
Yeah, I don't think he would be Black by our definition, but he absolutely was melanated.
Yes, he
was.
And
so, the light bulb, Yeah, they get credit for a lot of it because they took credit for a lot of it. So once again, Columbus and things. Oh, this, ain't nobody put a patent on this yet. This is mine now.
Oh, here's something else. This is so true now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of Black punk rock bands, and because they don't like the face of the music, they just stop listening to it.
Mind you,
as a matter of fact, I'm sitting here with my K-pop Corporate Incorporated sweatshirt on right now. This is my crew online. We've been playing around, but a lot of people want to get mad at Korea for repackaging 1990s R&B, but we had stopped listening to 1990s R&B by the time to 2000s. By the time the 99 and 2000 rolled around, we was all into trap music. Mm-hmm. We were tired of dudes. We called them simps. We said Keith Sweat was begging. All these dudes were some suckers, and we talked ourselves. We talked ourselves out of R&B. No longer would you hear, baby, I love you. Let's be together forever. You hear, I'm banging you tonight. You know what? I'm gonna throw some money at you. So get on your knees, blah, blah, blah. What was it that you heard the other day? Sex, violence, drugs, sex, violence, drugs.
Expensive cars.
Expensive cars.
Money, balls, expensive cars. Violence, money, drugs, expensive cars.
And half of that was on us because we wanted to be even as little kids from the suburbs wanted to be from the hood. We wanted to be hard. We wanted to be like NWA. And we said that Will Smith was a wimp. Will
Smith and MC Hammer.
MC Hammer was weird for dancing. Right? Now you look at the average K-pop band, they got 30 people on stage, just like MC Hammer. Yeah, male R&B star could never make it in today's America because we decided it wasn't cool anymore. And we were done with it. But people who still had a lot of music in their heart, looking at you, Teddy Riley, was like, you know what? There's an appetite for this. Because Korea was like 20 years behind us and they were still like, yo, this is great. Right? So they took it and ran with it. And they repackaged it in some real pretty dudes and real pretty girls. I'm not going to say that it goes both ways. And sex does sell. And the thing that they got right with K-pop is they offer you sex with the illusion of innocence. Mm-hmm. They don't date. They don't kiss. They don't have body hair. They don't do any of that. Right? But they body rolling on stage.
Yep.
It's wild.
The illusion.
Wait, pull up that last quote again. That's Eminem talking about Will Smith don't have to cuss in his raps to sell records, but I do. So F him and F you too.
F you too.
It's a great line.
Yes,
Eminem is a national treasure. I don't care what nobody say. He's one of the greatest lyricists to ever
But
do.
he spoke that is the truth to that though, because again, like you said, Will Smith was a rapper. Will Smith was a popular rapper from the late 80s to early mid 90s.
He surely was.
And then all of a sudden, gangster rap blew up.
NWA in particular, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now NWA has something to say, and you cannot compare NWA with
Will Smith.
Not Will Smith.
Oh,
East Coast, Fear of a Black Planet.
Public Enemy.
Public Enemy. Thank you. I was blanking on the name. Those two are not comparable, but they do run in parallel.
Yes.
Public Enemy was talking about social issues, the issues of the day, dealing with the government, understanding how society works. Don't fall for the okie doke. 911 is a joke. They're doing a lot of that. But you also have a socially conscious NWA. Now, they talked about drugs, but you have to really listen to the lyrics to understand that they are condemning the dope man. They're not telling you to be him. They're telling you he's terrible. They're not telling you to be Strawberry. They're telling you that she's terrible, right? And their song, F the Police, was about getting harassed by the police.
Yes.
And so F the police, not because we just want to run out and kill cops, but because the cops keep messing with us. Man, F the police.
For no reason whatsoever.
For no reason. As a matter of fact, they wrote that song after they got
harassed by the police.
Stop and frisked.
So here's this question.
So did Eminem steal from Black people? Absolutely not. What did he steal? Nothing.
Eminem wasn't
the
posing
thing about
or
music.
pretending.
So what?
He wasn't posing or pretending. Eminem was literally rapping about his life, his circumstances. All musicians perform about their circumstances,
right?
In some way, shape, or form, good or bad.
Music.
And that's all Eminem was doing. He wasn't trying to be anybody else but himself.
He has never tried to be Black, like, what was that girl's name that was out a few years ago?
Oh,
Azalea Banks.
Iggy Azalea.
Iggy Azalea never tried to be Black, or even Ice Baby.
Oh,
I don't have a real beef with him because he was a one-hit wonder, but the way he cut his hair, the way he was dressing and everything was very.
Well, he never wanted to do that. That was never his choice. That was the studio's decision to package him that way to appease.
Did he want to rap?
Did he want to rap? Yes. Did he want to rap? Did he want to perform music? Yes. But the image he put out there, the gaudy clothes and everything, because basically it was a mashup of cross colors and whatever Hammer was wearing, all of his outfits, basically. That's where you have, again, the white people stealing stuff, type thing. Like, okay, we have this talented white dude, but we're going to package him in such a way so that he looks like the popular Black people of the era.
Right. Yeah, because he was wearing Hammer pants and crop jackets, just like MC Hammer.
And that was done by the studio. And they gave him no choice. It was like, do this or we're not going to put your music out.
And Mark is going off in the comments, what about the 3 6? I don't even know what 3 6 Mafia song you're talking about. But what about Logic and Macklemore or any white rapper of today, like that dude that made that $1 million? I barely know. I know about Logic. I know Macklemore. Whatever album that was that he won that year.
Macklemore?
Yeah. It was the one that had, the first album?
Yeah, the first one. The song's Thrift Shop.
Yeah, Thrift Shop and all that stuff. Now, his little nod to Kendrick Lamar after the fact, like, oh man, you should have won. Give me the money then. Give me the award then if you think I should have won. Step down. He ain't gonna do all of that because he's a capitalist at the end of the day. He's in it for the money. He's talented.
Yes.
And any form of music is a form of a way to express yourself. Can you express yourself well, being true to yourself, using the genre that you've chosen? Because if we're going to say that, I don't want to hear the argument about, well, Black people created rock and roll. Somebody created everything. But in its current state, rock and roll and punk rock, etc., was very much a white sound. And then you have Black people come in and do it well. Are we going to say they can't do it because they're Black? If they're doing it well, are we going to say, even though country music started with Black people, it hadn't been Black for a long time? And so Beyonce comes in, and not only is she doing a country album, she gets country album of the year. It was a shock to a lot of people. She deserved it. But you cannot say she deserved it and then turn around and say that Eminem doesn't deserve his flowers. Two people doing the same thing in different directions, right? And MC Hammer was not a sellout.
He was not a sellout.
See, this is you not knowing your history. MC Hammer wasn't a sellout. MC Hammer was trying to carry his whole city on his back.
Yes.
He employed like 200 people.
200 people, yes. And he talks about that. That's part of the reason he went broke.
Yeah.
Trying to take care of all those people because he was trying to bring all of them up with him. Now, some of them did go on and do things, become choreographers in the industry, dancers for other musicians, whatever. Some of them became career backup singers, and some of them didn't. But trying to carry that many people is a strain on your finances, regardless of how successful you are, how much money you make. There was no issue with Hammer other than the positivity image he put out that, funny enough, Ice Cube and LL Cool J, because I will never forget this, led the charge in calling him, a buster or a sellout. They're the ones who started that. Only because
he wasn't rapping about getting out the hood. He was just rapping about let's have a party.
Having a good time, right. And he was also the first rapper to have a commercial.
Yeah, and they
remember he had the Pepsi commercial.
Right.
He also did, I think, I want to say a Doritos commercial. Now, fast forward, literally, this is not exaggeration, 10 years, and LL Cool J is doing Gap ads. The
fast
same LL that blasted.
Years, and Snoop Dogg is kissing or flirting with what's that old white lady's name? Martha Stewart on a cooking show. But you're gonna call him a sellout, okay?
Right. The same rappers that wanted to blast Hammer for crossing over and making that money in a commercial sense are now doing the same thing themselves. How many movies has Ice Cube been in?
And if you really want to talk about gangsters, wasn't Hammer about that life? Like, if I'm not mistaken,
Hammer was actually about that life. He didn't rap about it, but he was about their other performers who talk about how they crossed paths, said something, did something, and Hammer was like, do it again, and you going to turn up missing. Like, those stories are out there. I've seen not so much Method Man, but I know Redman has a story because they crossed paths.
There was a story about I want to say he bossed up on Tupac for mistreating Barry Gordy's daughter, or it was some weird story like that.
Yeah.
But he bossed up on folks that you thought was like real gangsters, and he had them tuck and tail.
He had them shook. Yeah.
Because he was connected. Make no mistake. Yeah, Hammer ain't the one to play with. MC Hammer, if you watch this right now, respect. I don't no problem.
Look, I don't care what no one says. In high school, I blatantly told people Hammer is my favorite rapper. Hammer is still one, if not my favorite, still one of my favorite rappers to this day.
No, I was in the best shape of my life when Hammer was bumping. You know how hard it is to do the Running Man for 15 minutes straight?
To turn this mother out.
Right, let's get it started. Yo, matter of fact, he was the creator, in my opinion. I mean, this may not be exactly right, but he's the first one I remember having an entourage on stage.
On stage, yes. Well, James Brown.
James Brown is a different animal, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to call him an animal. James Brown is a different type of performer.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, because he had a band behind him.
Yes. Like
Hammer
30
just had people, hype men and dancers.
Well, yeah, he had the keyboardists, the drummers, whatever, who you could barely see. The keyboarder was also a dancer as well, because the keyboard guitar thing, whatever.
Right.
But yeah,
there'd be like 30 people who 30 not there with him holding the instrument.
That's true.
Right. And he spawned BNGB and Old Town 357.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Oh, I'll give some flowers to Hammer while he's still alive. Right?
Absolutely. So, I think that's all I got.
Okay. Well, one other thing that I wanted to talk about, since we're talking about people taking stuff, we mentioned food. Let's talk fashion.
Ooh.
Right now, there is a tribute display honoring Tally. I forget his name because I almost drunk this entire thing.
Oh gosh,
Andre Leon Talley, that's his name. So there's an exhibit called Style is Forever, and it's Andre Leon Taylor used to work with. He used to partner with SCAD, which is here in Atlanta, and they have an ongoing homage to him. But the style in this man's pinky is more than everybody at the Met combined. Oh. Matter of fact, remember, what was it, last year or the year before, when they did like Black Dandyism at the Met?
Yes.
And people showed the F out. It was amazing.
Absolutely. Yes. I remember those pictures going viral. It was, whoo. Yeah.
But yeah, the fashion as a whole, if we wear it, it's cool. If we use it, it's great. And you will see other people not only take what we create, they will monetize it. And I believe that is the culture of white America is, can I patent this and make money off of
it? Yep.
Instead of just having something that's cool for the culture.
Sure.
You cannot monetize your culture like that and expect it to exist or expect it to thrive. So they monetize other people's culture and sell it back to us, right? The biggest ripoff of all time, you know what it is?
What is it?
Jerry Redding, inventor of the Jerry curl.
Oh.
They sold us our own curl pattern, and we believed them. Because we've been hearing how nappy our hair was for generations at that point. And here's something that's a uniform curl on it. It was a rod set, right? I could do a Jerry curl with this hair right now if I put enough gel and activator in it, right? And they sold it to us for I don't know how much money every month. Sit you under there under the heat and everything. It's ridiculous.
But 70s through the 80s. I'm glad it died out in the early 90s.
I'm so glad it died out. You know, shave all that off, get you some dreads and whatnot. Dreads is another thing they try to take and unsuccessful. But you know,
box braids,
which
is not designed for their hair. Wonder why it's falling out.
Right. You can't. Their hair is too fine to take the tension that box braids requires, and you'll pull it all out and then be wondering. I saw this lady get her dreads taken out, and with black dreads, you can usually, if you really want to take the time, you can detangle them. You can start at the bottom with a rat tail comb or a stiletto comb and just tease it out. It might take you 4 or 5 days, but if you really want to save all your hair, you can usually detangle dreads. But that's because the hair is spiraled around each other and not matted up. Some people do let their hair mat, but even that can be detangled. This woman had, I don't know, glue in her hair, because when your hair doesn't spiral at all, there's no Velcro spiral thing to hold them together. Dreadlocks, like you'll even notice if you see different people's locks, depending on their curl pattern, helps you understand how it's going to lock up, if it'll lock up at all.
Right.
I have a couple of friends, their hair is so fine and the curl pattern is so loose that it just won't lock. So they just don't do it. And if your hair is perfectly straight and the strands are thin, you need an adhesive to keep that hair together. And then they stop washing their hair to try to add to, I don't know what they think that's going to do.
You got to wash your hair.
You can't unravel glue.
No.
You cut that out. And so she had these weird, fuzzy bird's nest locks. And because they lack an understanding of African descendants and their culture, they think that we don't wash our hair either, that we must be letting it mat up like that. My hair, if I wash my hair right now and I go to bed, it's going to be locked tomorrow.
Look, I'm about to tell on myself here because there are no physical pictures that actually exist of me having this. No, not a Killmonger, but between, I want to say 06 and 2010, I twisted my hair out, hoping to get it to grow long enough so I could dread it. Because my cousin had dreaded his hair when he was alive before he passed away. And I was trying to do something similar. So I started letting my hair grow out afro. I put the picture up as my profile photo. I had a big afro, like nice size, whatever. And I purposely grew it out, took care of it, washed it, because you got to when your hair is that long. But yeah, twisted it out. It never grew past my shoulders though. And because I kept the twist for about 2 years. And let's just say that before Chris Rock's movie Hair came out, I already had my appreciation for Black women and their hair to just, it looks nice, it looks good, and shut the F up and keep on pushing, because having my hair twisted for 2 years and taking care of that is nothing compared to what a lot of you all have to go through as far as how you maintain your hair. So yeah, I don't say nothing. Like, your hair is whatever it is you want to do with it.
You call me and be like, "Well, Joe, what you doing?" I'm washing my hair. Okay, I'll call you tomorrow because I'm doing this all day.
I know that for a fact.
And Mark said he's been thinking about taking his locks out. Go to a salon. Go to a salon that specializes in locks and have them start the detangling process if you want to take them out. Don't try to do it at home. You're going to give up. You're going to give up. And then Google Japanese locks. Yeah. So again, I am not going to get into the discussion around the love of specifically Black American culture all throughout the Asian, well, specifically, which is called on Japan, Korea, and China.
Yes.
Because Southeast Asian got a little Black in them anyway.
Filipinos.
And the closer you get to like the Pacific Island territories, the browner they get. So we're gonna say Korea, Japan, and China find their young in love, similar to white kids in the 80s and 90s and 2000s here, in love with hip hop, Black culture, without knowing anything about it. And I don't mind at all if you have respect for where it comes from, if you study the music, if you understand the history, and you want to be an artist that celebrates that music. That's great. I'm a K-pop fan myself, and I've got a lot of respect for the one band I follow because they write their own music.
Look,
shout out to Stray Kids. But also, the last time I saw Stray Kids perform, they did, it was a long set at an award show, and they ended in suits with shades on and mic stands, and you can't tell me that wasn't a New Edition Motown tribute. They put their shades on and they were like, ooh.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, yeah, I see you, Bang Chan. I see you with the tribute, bro. You know, matter of fact, there's something going on Threads right now talking about which K-pop artists do you think are really for the sisters, and he's at the top of the list. It's like, if you put 3 women in front of him, he gonna pick the brownest one.
Bang Chan.
I forgot.
But yeah, I know. But real quick on the music thing, as far as the appropriation with that. Remember, I don't think I mentioned this on any of our shows last year, or I did mention on one show because we had to delay it. Point of the matter is, went to a Wu-Tang concert last summer. There were more others there than there were Black folk.
Yes.
And when I say more others, I'm talking about a crowd that was easily 70-30 not Black. All the Wu-Tang, I mean, and trust me, they looked our age.
Yeah.
So they were in high school, middle school, whatever, when Wu-Tang came out. So they rocked with Wu-Tang from day one. They were there, and it's like, okay, they appreciate Wu-Tang because they knew all the songs.
You know what? That brings me back around to Black people. Y'all ain't innocent neither, because our obsession with martial arts. Granted, a lot of martial arts do have some origins, again, out of the African diaspora. You look at capoeira, you look at, matter of fact, some of the Far East martial arts have some ties to ancient arts that were coming out of Africa. So we get the diaspora and the way things travel. Howsoever, Black folks in the 70s and 80s didn't know any of that. And they were watching Kung Fu movies and falling in love with it. Matter of fact, one of my favorite dancers to follow is named Fiction. Fiction is a samurai now in his own mind. He fights with real swords. He does choreographed fights. And I love seeing that. But we can't act like we don't borrow from other people's culture as well. Yeah. Wu-Tang as a name.
Yes.
Come on, y'all.
Yes.
Don't act like you ain't never done it. So
because those brothers grew up in the 70s, or they were coming of age in the mid to late 70s, to where Kung Fu theater was a thing that was on every Saturday up in New York, even bleed into the 80s. So, it was that thing where you watch the Saturday morning cartoons, wrestling may or may not come on, and then at noon, a martial arts movie is coming on.
Poorly dubbed martial arts movie, yeah.
Poorly dubbed. poorly dubbed is a gross understatement.
I don't even know what they were thinking. Yeah. And then of course, you get into like anime and everything else. And so those cultures grew popular together. It
But
doesn't surprise me at all when you have something like Samurai Champloo, which is
yes.
Japanese manga with hip-hop music.
Hip-hop music, yes, indeed. But I will say in that regard, with us and those Asian cultures where we bleed into each other, there is a respect of those things. It's not like, I would say by and large, those of us African Americans who are into anime do understand the history, where it came from and everything like that. And granted, there are some knuckleheads who, and yes.
Yeah, so I think what I'm hesitating about is when you say respect, because there's a lot of fetishization.
Yes, there is. There is a lot of fetishization both ways.
Both ways. And so if you want to cancel those denominators out, then everybody has their aspects of their culture that is fetishized. And so we do have that. Above and beyond that, a lot of the artists that are engaging in different forms, whether it's R&B music or Japanese art style or, pencil, watercolor drawing, whatever it might be, the respect for the art is there and the desire to express yourself through that medium. I'm never going to have a problem with that unless you act like you created it.
That part. And that doesn't exist either way.
There's
always, again, Wu-Tang, that's an homage to all the Asian cinema they watched growing up. They're not claiming to be an Asian rap group or anything of that nature.
Right. And I got no problem with an Asian rap group if they can really rap. Because I got no problem with, like I said, I love Eminem. I think he's really, really talented. I think he's amazing. He's easily in my top 3 rappers of all time. Macklemore, kid's good. I am all that. Logic.
Macklemore is what the industry wants to be popular, so more others are into it than us. That's what Macklemore. And again, that's not a knock on Macklemore. That's just the system trying to push certain people out.
Right, because you need something that is going to be mainstream. Because at the end of the day, Black people are only 12% of this country. You cannot make billions on 12%. You need that other. You need all the others. Like you said, that's why Wu-Tang show was 70-30. Because who got disposable income right now? I'm just saying. Right.
One other thing before we get close to wrapping up around here, because we getting close.
This has been a stream of consciousness show tonight.
Absolutely. Appropriation at its grossest form, as far as white people, Columbus and stuff. Slang.
Man, look.
And I don't know if you saw it this weekend, but Tiana Taylor was the guest host of SNL.
Yes.
And there was a sketch in there they did on Weekend Update, in which who is it? Not Che, the Colin Jost. And he's sitting there, one of the other cast members, and he breaks down, because I'm not going to show it, because basically I'm just going to talk about it, because showing this is basically just airing the whole thing. But he breaks down how Black people make something popular, the kids like it, and then white folks pick it up because their kids are the ones mimicking.
Right. And then once old white people say it, it's dead.
It's dead. Yep. And in that sketch, they ended with, Cap just died because Elon Musk
said that's Cap. And you hear like the death knell, like, Cap is dead because you said it.
And that's basically what it is.
That's basically what it is. But then, like, again, not knowing history and not knowing origins, it irritates me to no end when I hear people say Unc is short for uncool. Unc is short for uncle.
Uncle, not uncool. What the hell?
Right. What? Did nobody told you that? You didn't ask the people that. And this also comes from willful ignorance. You didn't ask anybody.
Nope.
What Unc stood for. You just made it up in your head
and started using it. Yeah.
Because some of the stuff that the kids say, I think is really interesting. I like Riz. I think that's a great word, but also understand that it comes from charisma. You didn't just make up the word Riz, right? You spell it differently, but we understand its origins. Understand where Unc comes from. It comes from uncle.
Uncle.
And uncle being honestly honorific that you give to an older person in your life. which is also very common in a lot of cultures of color. Call somebody uncle, auntie,
Mm-hmm.
Nuna.
Especially auntie. I'm pretty sure I showed you the she's Nigerian, but she lives in China.
Yes.
And she speaks fluent Mandarin.
And they think that she is a Wakandan princess, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes they think she's a Wakandan princess, or they think that she's dyeing her skin that color. She's like, no, no. This is how I actually look, because they're surprised that she can understand them and speak fluently.
Yeah. And what I do like about that, because they'll have you believing that they talk crap about us all the time. She sits there. She's a very pretty young girl. She sits there, minding her business, and she's hearing, and the captions are giving subtitles, and they're saying stuff like, her skin is so shiny, it's just pretty. That's real. No, that's how they really look. I think she's a princess. Maybe she's one of Obama's children. They're saying all of this stuff like, oh, she's so gorgeous, blah, 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 blah. And then she says something in their language, and like, you speak our language? You understood everything we're saying so far? It was never ugly black girl, she looks dirty, go back. You get that in America.
But she constantly, the older women she interacts with, she constantly calls them auntie in their language.
Yes, as
she
a
calls
sign.
Every single one of them auntie. So.
Yeah. So, in conclusion, everybody takes things from other cultures, whether it's sports, music, dance, fashion. We didn't touch on fashion as much as we should have, but if you live in Atlanta, go check out the Andre Leon Talley exhibit at SCAD. Even wearing one sweatpant leg up and one down started in the 90s with track runners, because they were trying to show off the little booty on the back of their calf, showing off their leg.
That is the
became a thing. Yeah. But we borrow things from other cultures all the time. Be respectful about the way you borrow it, and don't act like you made it up. That's all we ask. Give credit where credit is due. I don't mind people making a living or, being paid to do something in an art form that they have learned to master and appreciate. Just don't be like, I'm the first one to ever do this, Columbus. Don't do that.
And stop watching black folk on TikTok to try to make money off whatever it is they're doing.
Right. Stop selling stuff like you created it. Like what was the thing I saw? This lady.
Not even that, just monetizing like their dance videos, because they saw whole white families see black dancers do something, then they do it, it gets popular, and all of a sudden now they're making money off of dance video they saw a black group do.
That was a successful boycott. I remember when that was going around, and black people, like, it was right around the time Savage came out. I think that might have been the last thing that somebody created a dance for. And then they were just like, we're not doing dances no more.
Nope.
And so other nationalities try to do a dance. And I remember there was this one young guy who was white presenting, and he'd made a dance to some song, and he was killing it. And all the comments were like, see, white people do have rhythm, blah, blah, blah. He made a follow-up video. I'm Puerto Rican. Like, I don't know what y'all thought. This is full of rasa.
Awesome.
So, so again, the theme of the show is Columbusing. Don't be taking stuff and you don't know where it come from. Don't take things and take credit for something you didn't create. And just appreciate other people's culture. Be respectful about it. And we can have what we should have all over the world, which is a communal exchange of ideas, thoughts, new things, music, fashion, food, etc. Instead of, this is mine,
That part.
And go, if you're into something, learn all about it, not just the pieces that you like.
And fast forward to a sports show we'll do later in February. This is why I don't talk to young people about sports.
Yeah. And join us again at the end of February for THIStory, because that's going to be the Black History episode. We're about to wild out. It's going to be a whole series of little known facts, little known stories that you may not have heard. Right. It's probably going to be a whole bunch of uprisings. The way I'm feeling, we might be talking about that. There was a whole lot more than that, Turner.
Yes, there was. Yes, there was. I just hate we get reduced to like 5 or 6 people.
We do. And Nat Turner ain't even one of them. We can reduce to Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
And Rosa
Jesse
Parks
Owens.
Jesse Owens every now and then.
Jesse Owens, Jackie Robinson, and
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Yep. Michael Jackson and James Brown in music for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Michael Jackson is another person they try to steal. He was never white. He never wanted to be white. He was a very proud Black man who had vitiligo, which we now understand what that is.
Yes.
Matter of fact, I'm not going to say he put it on the map, but he was instrumental in people understanding and researching what that was.
Yes.
And it allowed, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but it allowed a lot of people who were dealing with vitiligo to be able to come out and talk about it. And ultimately, that's how you get models with vitiligo, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
I don't know what he's talking about.
I'm not posting that one.
No.
If people see it in the comments on the YouTube later, then they see it.
And that's on them, but we're not putting that on. No. Martin had a little too much happy fun juice.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
But we all are, he does make a point. We all are living Black history. Yes, everything that you do, everything that you can record, it becomes a part of the zeitgeist if you want it to be. Put yourself out there. Let somebody try to take it and then hit them with that cease and desist.
That part.
Yes. Be like Sting and sue them so that they pay you every time they say your word. Let's start putting some more words in the dictionary. I think the last word we put in there was like jiggy. That was a long time ago. We need some more Black words in the dictionary.
What about juice?
I said he was a little too much juice or something. So he just asked some questions. Stop talking to Mark. Let's go. We're going to get out of here right now. We'll see y'all next time. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for an episode of Moana Nui After Dark presents What You Watching as we go over current anime, movies, videos, etc. So that'll be tomorrow night, same time.
Absolutely. Till then, like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you later.
Laters.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then. When they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves a republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand,
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if we put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course. Cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. Then work out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell. Even if we have to ourselves, can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell. Even if we have to ourselves, can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell. Even if we have to ourselves, can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell. Even if we have to ourselves, can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.